Good evening. It's Wednesday, May 6th at 5 p.m. Calling the City Council special meeting to order. City Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Murphy.
Here.
Here.
Councilmember Holloway.
Here.
Councilmember Washington.
Here.
Councilmember Cotton.
Present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
The roll is complete. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move. Second.
Moved by Councilmember Holloway, seconded by Councilmember Murphy. Is there any discussion? See none. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries and the agenda is adopted. The first item of business on the agenda is City Council vacancy interviews. Before we bring your first candidate on at 10 after the hour, is there any discussion, Council? Councilmember Cotton.
Sure.
I just wanted to raise a point of, and I know potential action tonight can be appointment of a candidate or determining next steps. So pending how things go in a timely fashion, so and over deliberations, I want to clarify that it is indeed not imperative that we make a decision tonight, but because we are still well within the 90-day window. Is that correct?
You are within the 90-day window and you do have room. It's up for you to decide what is imperative. Councilmember Johnson.
Excuse me. So let me double check my math here. I believe that the intent was 15 minutes per candidate, 4 questions, 3 minutes each. I am curious from council, did we want to have the option were it to land perfectly at 12 minutes or less? Do we want to have the option of council members being able to ask a follow-up question?
It was the 15.
Again, because 4 times 3 is 12. So that leaves 3 minutes extra.
Oh, but it was,
Councilmember Holloway, sorry.
So just one caveat and then one comment. I think we intended that it was going to be 12, we were going to give them 12 minutes. They had 4 questions with not 3 minutes a question.
Mhm.
They could divide it up however they want, correct? We weren't going to time each question, right? We were going to do 12 minutes for the body of 4.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that was the conversation we had whenever the last meeting was. I can't keep track. But the other one is if you do that 3 minutes open, you run the risk of being inconsistent in the questions between the candidates.
Right.
Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, to that point. So my understanding last night at FNA was 4 times 3, 4 questions, 3 minutes, 12 minutes total for that very.
Right.
Yeah.
What do we want the timer to be at? 3 minutes or 12 minutes?
Councilmember Holloway.
Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Murphy.
I'll let this conversation.
Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, my understanding was the timer was set for 3 minutes, questions answered, reset it for another 3 minutes and so on. But I mean, that's an open discussion.
It's about
Councilmember Johnson.
Okay. My recollection from last night was that was where we had landed, was having the timer for 3 minutes.
okay.
3 minutes a question. All right.
Yeah.
Councilmember Murphy.
What might be considered next steps to be in that second action? I'm somewhat new to the process, so if we could illuminate me on that, that'd be great. Someone
There.
Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. Tonight you'll interview all these candidates. It's a lot of candidates. We're probably going to be here late. So, it's a really important process. So, you'll have the opportunity to go to an executive session and discuss the applicants. You may come out of that and do motions practice and vote on candidates. Maybe those motions will fail and you won't have a majority to appoint someone. Maybe, 15 minutes per person is not a lot of time for the amount of time you're going to be spending together in the next few years with that person. So maybe you want to select 2 or 4 candidates to bring back for a second round to do a more in-depth time with that more selective group.
Don't ask him.
Thank you.
Council, if you could give us guidance, do you wish the applicants to stand at the podium where they can see the timer? Or do you wish them sitting at the table? What would you like the format to be?
You like grilling them, do you?
Well, no,
Councilmember Washington.
I don't have a preference. I'm just saying, I remember going through this process. I stood at the podium. I don't have a preference, but it was kind of hot. Maybe that was
Councilmember
just
John.
questions that Councilmember Holloway.
I think Councilmember Watt and I might have the same thought. How hard is it to get the podium to the middle?
We're trying to find out.
It's a bit of a process. We need to take a recess. It's all wired to that podium, so we'd have to unwire it, move it over and
It's
rewire
Through the
it.
floor, up to the.
Councilmember Watton.
I would prefer them to sit at the table
Yeah,
myself.
Councilmember Washington.
I'm in agreement. Why not just have them sit at the table at this point?
Great. So just the implication is they won't be able to see the timer, but the 3 minutes is 3 minutes, right? So yeah. Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, in that vein, Mayor, are you opposed to maybe giving a 30-second warning or a 20-second warning or?
Councilmember Watton.
Could we put on the screen a timer? I'm sure we could find a timer.
We're not equipped to do that. We're not just going to make it up as we go.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the timer we got. Councilmember Washington.
Yeah, I renew my question. Are you amenable to giving a 15-second warning?
I'll conduct it however you would like. This is your meeting, but I would say, do you want me to interrupt them and say 30 seconds, or like, how would you like me to handle that? Councilmember Holloway.
I motion to just softly say 30 seconds.
There you go.
They keep going and until the timer runs out.
All right, so I will, tell them, candidate, as we're just starting out, I'll tell them that that's what I'm going to do, so they don't get startled, hopefully, by that. Councilmember Johnson.
Since the city clerk, I believe, is the keeper of the timer, I'm curious, is it more appropriate for the mayor to do that or for the city clerk to say 30 seconds?
You want to let us handle that and we'll just get it done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ready. Do it.
Okay, we're about 2 minutes out. So we'll just start the process.
Oh, yeah, you get to break the ice. Want to practice with me?
All 4 questions, or do you go down?
No, you have to. You don't have to.
Okay.
Just touch.
Johnson. Yes. Are we, so you're starting with number 1 and we're just
Yeah.
gonna go on down, okay? Then just, so then 1, 2, 3, 4. So then Rob would start
Barb
with
will be
question
number
number
1 on
one
the next candidate.
for, yeah, second candidate. Okay.
This is gonna come up when we get down there. Do we go back this way or? loop around?
Go ahead and bring him in.
Okay. Loop around.
God.
Can it really be this difficult?
It is.
It's like doing odd even, right?
Very
And then
weird.
remembering it.
Yeah. Wait, what was my number?
All right, for those in the audience, if there are any candidates in the audience, we're asking candidates to wait in the waiting room at the top of the stairs until it's their turn to answer questions. And then obviously, once they've answered questions, they're welcome to stay and observe the others if they so wish. All right. Have we promoted? Yeah. All right. The first candidate is Mr. Ethan Benson. Mr. Benson, are you there?
I am.
Wonderful. We see you because you spoke. So now we see, oh, and then I spoke and we lost you. But once you start speaking, we will see you. We're going to ask a series of, the council members going to ask a series of questions. They're going to trade off which one of them is asking the questions. Each question is, you'll have 3 minutes to answer. And I will just audibly say, but quietly, when you have 30 seconds left, I'll just quietly say into the speaker that you have 30 seconds. So just ignore me.
Incredibly startling.
Yeah, I will try to be as unstartling as I can, but just wanted to let you know that'll happen. So obviously just ignore it other than to be aware that you're running low on time. Okay. In total, we're going to have 4 questions with you. So about 15 minutes in total, but 12 minutes for questions. And we will, with that, move on to our first question, which I believe Councilmember Johnson will ask.
All right. Thank you. Question number 1 is, why do you want to serve on the city council?
Well, one of the reasons that I applied was because this seems like an incredibly daunting time to be a council member. This has been a really difficult first quarter. And one of my fears was that nobody was going to apply because you guys have been going through it. I also wanted to apply because I already have experience as a council member. And since this is a shortened term for whoever you take to position 6, only 7 quarters really remaining, I thought it might be good for somebody who had experience on the council to be at least an option if you didn't want to spend much of those 7 quarters training the new council member. Although I've seen the candidates that you have on the list. There are 10 of them, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. I know that looking at 4 of them jumped out at me as much better choices than me. And if you don't choose one of them, I am going to judge you silently, not publicly, but in my heart, viciously and unmercifully. No, I'm very excited that there is so much engagement in Snoqualmie right now from the public in our local government, and I'm really excited by the list of candidates that you have to choose from. I'm very happy that you're going to have a difficult time choosing among the excellent candidates you have available. But the main reason that I applied was because I've watched you guys work, and I felt the difficulty that this term has given to you, and I felt like it would be cowardly not to apply when you guys are taking on all of these very big challenges, and it's not easy. So it felt like it would be wrong to let you guys do that without at least offering my services.
Good evening, Mr. Benson. I have question 2, which is, what experiences, talents, and skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Precious few, other than the experience of having done the job. I think that if I have any special skills that lend themselves to the work, it's that I do genuinely care about what people think. I want to hear what their positions are. I have the ability to divorce my own personal opinion from issues so that I can hear the arguments of others. And I truly value the idea of representative government. I don't believe that anybody sitting in one of those seats should be representing his own view. I think that we have 15,000 people in our city, And if your view is more than 1/15,000th in importance, then you aren't doing the job properly. So the ability to listen to others, hear their arguments, and value them more than my own, I think is useful. And also just having had the experience of doing the work, I found the learning curve incredibly steep when I came on board in my last term, and I understand the difficulty in that. But I have 3 core values that I make decisions based on: fiscal responsibility, public safety, and individual rights. And I think that all of those come into play regularly, and at least one of them comes into play in every decision that we make. So I take those very seriously, and I'm uncompromising about those things. But those are the skills that I bring. As far as particular organizational skills or anything, yeah, I don't have any of that. But I can listen to an argument and weigh it.
Good afternoon, or sorry, good evening, evening. Good evening, Mr. Benson. Lewis Washington here. I have the third question, and I'll read it off here. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? And I'll give you some examples of those: transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, public, or excuse me, I'm sorry, parks and open space, etc.
No, I have the experience of using all of those things, but I did get a liberal arts degree, and so I have no useful or marketable skills. So the answer to the question is no. I don't have experience in any of those things beyond what I've learned from having been in Parks and Public Works, on the Parks and Public Works Committee, or the work that I've done with you. It was incredible. It was actually quite incredible to me when I first came onto the city council to learn everything that goes into running a city. It is absolutely incredible. The myriad gears that have to mesh together in order to make this whole operation work. And no, I have no skills to do anything remotely that incredible, other than oversee it, and make sure that we're not misusing the money. Which fortunately we have a very good city staff, so they're on top of that, and the council is left making smaller decisions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson.
Hi, Ethan, this is Brian.
Brian.
Question number 4. Do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
I would say that they're more broad. They really are about representation of the residents of Snoqualmie. The reason I ran the first time was not because of any particular issue. It was because I was challenged by Bob Jeans to run. He said that I should, and when Bob Jeans tells you to do something, you do it. And the question that I had before I ran was whether or not representative democracy works. I was, like many Americans, very disheartened by the state of politics in our country, and I wanted to know if it was just on paper. What I found from working on the council was that, at least at the local level, at the city level, in a city like Snoqualmie, it is very real and very powerful and very honest and true. I found everybody that I worked with, both the elected officials And the city staff were all people that wanted to serve and protect and help the people of the city. The elected officials wanted to represent them faithfully, and we didn't always agree on how to do that, but everybody did agree on that we were there for the people of the city. And that was an incredibly valuable experience to me. It was life affirming, really, after being an outside observer of politics for so long and becoming so jaded against it. I still am quite jaded about politics in general. Don't get me wrong. I still have a low opinion of government and bureaucracy broadly. But what I experienced working with Snoqualmie was a whole lot of people who really very desperately wanted to represent their friends and their neighbors and oversee their limited resources properly and to the best effect.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Benson. That concludes the questions we have for you. You are welcome to continue to observe the rest of tonight's interviews. You are welcome to not do that, as you please. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Jimmy? Okay. It's done.
Who's that?
You know where Ethan? Oh, I saw that. I was wondering where he was on vacation.
I thought it's like.
All right. Good evening, Ms. Lavoie. Welcome. We are going to go through 4 questions. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. Now, our logistics are a little tricky because the timer that would tell you about the 3 minutes is not at the table. So what will happen is when you get to where you have only about 30 seconds left, I will just softly say into the microphone 30 seconds. I tell you that so that hopefully that won't startle you and throw you off. But you'll have 3 minutes for each of 4 questions, and the council member's going to rotate asking you those questions. So you ready to go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Council Member Watton.
Thank you. Ms. Lavoie, good evening. First question is, why do you want to serve on the city council?
Well, first of all, good evening, Mayor Mayhew, members of the council. Thank you for considering me for this position. So I have lived in Snoqualmie for over a decade now, and in that time, we've begun a family. And as a mother to 2 young children, it is really important to me that Snoqualmie is a diverse and inclusive and safe place to raise a family. And, it's welcoming for folks from all sorts of backgrounds, regardless of their immigration status. And the best way to do that is to be able to be on council and be in the room where decisions are being made. And, the fact that a lot of folks interaction with government, whether they're not, they're really thinking about it on a daily basis, is at the local level, is at the city level. And you have that ability to make that impact. And I'm someone who has experience working in state government, both at the legislative side and in a state agency. And so I get to see how policies get made and how they get implemented. And there's a lot of things where it falls on the cities to actually implement it and make it happen, specifically with a lot of times with housing policy. And I, really want to be further involved in that. And cities have the ability to help make or break bills that are being debated in Olympia. And, unfortunately, you have a stronger voice when you're an elected official, as much as we want as many members of the public to have those same impact. Sometimes that title does matter. But, to me, really, my most important title is being a mother. Like I said, and it really comes down to building the city that I want my family to grow up in, because I plan on living here for decades to come. And, I know that I can hit the ground running and in even the short term to be able to make that difference.
Tanya, what experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
So as I touched on, so I spent over 6 years working in the state senate. And so I got up close to a lot of major policies, including on housing affordability and on Residential Landlord Tenant Act. There was some really major changes that happened in those years, and being able to see how things get done there. And also being able to plainly explain policy matters a lot, because the average person doesn't have time to sit down and read through RCWs or WACs or bills. And there's, major things happening. And if you can't plainly explain that, it's harder for people to be able to participate in that process and kind of know what's happening. Somebody who's worked in public affairs and in communications, I've been really skilled at being able to translate those complicated concepts. I'm also somebody who has kind of a breadth of policy knowledge, but I'm kind of a geek and like to kind of deep dive on things. So in more recent years, I've been deep diving a little bit more on insurance, because I've transitioned to working at the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. So there's a lot of learning about wildfire mitigation, flood response, different kinds of insurance policies that are available at both for consumers and at the government level. And so I'm going to, bring all of that policy knowledge, but also that ability to ask questions and research and be able to make not just independent decisions, but ask questions of staff if there's something that I'm like, okay, I don't get this. Can you explain it to me so that I can make an informed decision about this? And I'm also, somebody who has built strong relationships with elected officials at local, state, and federal level. And I know that, you can't get much done without those partnerships. So, we're looking at things through a city lens, but you're also looking at it a regional lens and trying to leverage, what other options we have, like, funding from state or federal sources to be able to accomplish projects that we want to get done. So, I've bring all that knowledge and relationships.
So,
Well, now you owe everybody donuts.
so
That's the rule, right?
Go ahead and finish your thought. Well, hold on. Let's give a moment here. Okay, go ahead and finish the thought that you are on.
Sure. I just, I'm a collaborative problem solver and a strategic thinker, and love to bring that to the council.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
All right, next question. Are there any, excuse me, are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? I'll give you a few examples. Things like transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, etc.
So I touched on a little bit. So obviously, housing affordability is something that I have some experience with, not just what the policy looks like, but what some of the major players are. And that also goes into rental assistance and tenant protections. We have, some new protections for folks that they're not always aware of, and that includes a right to counsel, which depends on state funding, unfortunately. But I know that's been a big issue, especially with the recent building downtown and the building full of people getting evicted. I mentioned, community resilience and particularly like flood mitigation is of interest. That's something that is going to become, unfortunately, increasingly more common, that we're going to have extreme weather events, and the Snoqualmie valleys gonna continue to have flooding, and there's some regional approaches to that could be probably strengthened, and looking at some options so we can put money into mitigation rather than dealing it with after the fact. So those are a few. I'm also kind of a nerd about public transit. I know we're not part of Sound Transit Zone, so we get a little bit less, not just less service, but we're not in the conversation mix as well. But the things that are happening to our neighbors, like the questions about whether light rail is going to come to Issaquah or be delayed, all of that affects us because we're still using those services even if we're not part of that zone. So those are kind of a few topics.
Great. The fourth question, do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
Yeah, so I definitely have some broad interests. I think I've begun to make that a little bit obvious. There's not one thing that I'm particularly narrowed in on, because I think you have to look at things as a whole. Generally, affordability is something that touches everybody's lives, and it's probably going to get worse for some folks living in Snoqualmie. And, we're going to have some people that their cost of living's mostly unchanged. Groceries might get a little bit more expensive, but they're not going to notice that as much. And then we're going to have some people that are going to be profoundly affected by what's coming based on, we're already seeing high gas prices, which is going to translate into not just grocery prices, but other goods, potentially less tourism, as flights are expensive and gas is expensive. People may not be visiting as much. So there's some hard conversations to be had. And I would say the piece of that I do have some particular interest in as well is childcare affordability. As a mother of two young children, and someone who had to literally wait for another daycare to be built to have availability of care. That is something that is a particular passion of mine, and ensuring that we don't have people sitting out the workforce because they can't access childcare. And that's a big one for me. And I will say the other thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention is the ongoing, the Jupiter Power Battery storage site proposal. And obviously you've seen the comments and the room being full of people, and that is clearly a hot button issue for the people in this town. And so, something that I've been paying close attention to. I don't want to go into the specifics, but that's definitely of interest.
Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Believe it or not, we zoomed through all 4 questions. You are welcome to stay if you wish to watch other candidates. You are welcome to leave if you would like. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time. I think I'm probably gonna head home since it seems like it's gonna be another few after. No slight on you.
You'll see your one.
I'm not sure why we decided to put 2 chairs there, so feel free to center one, and sorry about that, or pull the mic over
Part of
to
the
you.
test. Thanks.
So, welcome, Mr. Testament. Thank you for being with us tonight. I know you're probably thinking to yourself that it's quite remarkable for the first time, probably in your experience, we have a government activity going ahead of schedule.
There have been some long planning commission meetings, that's for sure, and I'm sure the same's true on the council. So
Wonderful. So thank you for being with us. We're going to go through 4 questions. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each one. Our timer system, unfortunately, is not at your table. It's off to the left where you really can't see it. So when you are down to 30 seconds, I will try to softly say into the microphone, 30 seconds. Hopefully that won't startle you. Just disregard me other than taking note that you have 30 seconds at that point.
absolutely.
All right. And with that, we will start with Councilmember Washington.
Good evening, Mr. Testament, Louis Washington. Thank you for joining us this evening. I have the first question. So the first question is, why do you want to serve on the Snoqualmie City Council?
Yeah, so thank you again for the opportunity. It's going to sound a little corny, but my mom was a probation officer for the County of San Diego. When I was growing up, my father was a Marine. But one of the things that stuck with me is the motto of the County of San Diego, which is the noblest motive is the public good. So, I raise that to say I believe in that. That's kind of been my motivating force for my professional life as well. I've served my country for 20 years now on active duty and as a reservist, excuse me. And as soon as I, finally had the opportunity to move to a place, Snoqualmie, to make it my permanent home once I left active duty, I immediately sought to figure out how I could have the greatest impact. And the opportunity that I found was on the Planning Commission. And I've been lucky to serve on the Planning Commission since then. So my answer is I want to make a difference. We have a great community here in Snoqualmie. I think everyone will say that. I think we all believe that. I think serving on the city council is just a small way of exercising some leadership in the direction that the city takes. So that it remains a place we're all proud of and all want to live. So that's my goal.
Thank you, Mr. Testament.
Thank you. What experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Sure. I think my resume is probably a double-edged sword, right? Some people look at it and see just a generalist and say, has he developed expertise in a given area? Others, I think, hopefully would say, I value that he's a generalist. I think what I would highlight is, yes, while I look like a generalist on the surface, I think I've proven two things time and time again. One, I have the ability and the willingness and the intellectual curiosity to dive into the details to solve a problem. Two, I've delivered results in doing so, and three, along that journey, I've had to prove myself multiple times to different audiences, and I've always been able to do so because I deliver results. So I would highlight that. Obviously, I've gained significant experience on the issues that matter most to Snoqualmie during my service on the Planning Commission. I've had the opportunity to help contribute to the most recent comprehensive plan update, the critical areas ordinance update, the retail zone overlay updates, and a multitude of other issues. So I would highlight that were I to be selected, I would be coming with, I would hit the ground running because I'm already fully apprised of many of the issues facing Snoqualmie, including probably the biggest one for this year in terms of planning, which is rezoning the Ridge. So as we seek, as the city of Snoqualmie leaves its growth phase and enters its maturity phase, right? The 2026, 2027 is the prime opportunity to figure out, okay, what do we love about Snoqualmie that we want to preserve? What do we need to change in order to ensure that we've got a bright future that's economically, fiscally sustainable? And let's make sure those changes get reflected in the zoning decisions that we make. So that's what I would highlight.
You're up.
I am, Mr. Testman. First of all, I just realized we have added an A to your name on the list. But thank you for being here. Thank you for
I
stepping
apologize.
up. I'm on question 3, if I'm following along. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? And some examples are transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, or whatever else you want to name.
Sure. So I won't, call out any of those specific areas. I'll talk to my expertise that I think I could lend to many of them. Obviously, I have an educational background in finance, so I think I can take a good eye to the budget, right? In terms of, areas of passion that combine with my expertise, yeah, I've served as the lead for Amazon Extra Large, which is heavy bulky delivery for Amazon. I've served as their sustainability lead specifically for fleet for over a year now. So that's given me exposure into everything from, greenhouse gas accounting and projection to actually planning out, a very large fleet, over 2,000 vehicles, and electrifying that fleet. So I'm, very attuned to, knowledgeable of issues of sustainability, both broad and specific. In terms of commissions or interest groups, I've had the opportunity to observe the Snoqualmie Watershed Forum. I think hopefully it was clear in my application that probably the greatest asset that Snoqualmie has is the Snoqualmie River. I think it's what unites the cities across the valley and provides our economic opportunity. And more importantly than that, I just enjoy it as a natural resource. It's what sustains this whole region. So I appreciated the work that I saw going on at the Watershed Forum, and I'd be very interested in contributing to that forum.
Thank you.
Do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
Probably, obviously we got a lot going on in the city of Snoqualmie right now. Surprisingly for our size. I think the direct answer to your question is I'm just focused broadly. Again, like I said, certainly in the next 2 years, we have a real opportunity to define the strategic vision of the future of Snoqualmie. It's not make or break. We're going to succeed no matter what, but I do think it's a pivotal time for the city. So that's my focus. Obviously, I think there's a lot we could do to help the small businesses in the city of Snoqualmie. I proposed a couple of things in my application, but the vacancies, I don't know if we have a firm grasp of how bad the vacancy problem is. And I'm sure you're familiar with Rudy Giuliani's broken windows theory, right? And that's a little controversial. I get it, but I think we all intuitively relate to the fact that things like vacancies can create problems of their own, just like making sure that those vacancies are filled creates a virtuous cycle of its own, right? So I think there's work to be done there, and I would definitely be interested in that. But the direct answer is I think I have a broad interest in many of the challenges facing Snoqualmie.
Well, thank you. Believe it or not, we just zoomed through those 4 questions. So thank you very much for your time and for your answers. You're welcome to stay if you wish to listen to other candidates. You are also welcome to leave if you wish. Either way, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Mayor.
Councilmember Washington.
Sir, I'm so sorry. Your last name is pronounced Testman, not Testament.
That's right.
My apologies.
No, thank you.
My sincere apologies.
I'll leave one chair.
Thank you. Hold on. Just Jimmy. Just hold on one moment. We're fairly far ahead of schedule. We can keep going, or we could take a 5-minute recess. If it's okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess. All right, we will come back at 5:55 and start with the next candidate. We're in recess. Ms. Gomez, welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are going to go through with you 4 questions, and you'll have 3 minutes to answer each one. There's a timer in front of you, and it'll give you a visual cue on the lights as well, sort of as it counts down. With that, we'll start our questions with Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. Good evening. First question is, why do you want to serve on the city council?
Well, first off, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm Alma Gomez and I lived in Snoqualmie for 9 years with my family. I'm stepping forward because I care deeply about the community and the direction it's going, and I care about how the city grows and how residents are included in that process. And I do bring real world leadership experience and a desire to listen and serve with integrity. So why do I want to serve? I want to serve because I believe Snoqualmie has a real opportunity right now to grow thoughtfully while keeping the character and sense of community that makes it special. While I might not have formal municipal city government experience, I've been inspired by leaders like Zanae Jackson in Irving, Texas, who also didn't have that experience and ran for mayor of Irving this year. But years ago, in 2014, a decade ago, I did work behind the scenes on elections there, and that inspired me. That experience showed me how much civic engagement matters locally to the citizens. And living here in Snoqualmie, that's inspired me even more. The people here, the growth that I've seen, that's helped me grow personally as the community grew, I grew, and I'd love to be able to give back for that reason. So I'm not stepping forward because of a single issue here. I'm here because I want to help strengthen trust and make sure growth benefits everybody. And especially, I'd love to help support the 2044 Snoqualmie Comprehensive Plan. I'd love to just help bring full transparency to that so that the community stays informed every step of the way.
Good evening, Alma. What experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Okay. Good question. So I do bring over a decade of leadership experience at T-Mobile, managing large, complex, distributed teams across several states. I led IT operations there, and we handled competing priorities in high pressure environments, and I focused on improving systems and communications with folks there so that folks felt supported. And those same skills, I noticed that strategic thinking, that data and AI informed decision making, and making sure that everyone has a voice. I noticed that translates directly to public service. And I like to say I'm calm, pretty calm under pressure, and diplomatic, and I am collaborative. And so beyond my professional work, I served on the Snoqualmie United Methodist Church Board. That was where we took 6 groups and consolidated them down to one board. Besides that, I've also volunteered at Echo Glen, supporting the underserved youth that are there in the community. And those experiences, just those 2 alone, deepened my commitment to service. And with all that, I've gotten to work with people from all different backgrounds, and I helped build programs that supported families in their most critical time of need. And I do believe in listening to all sides, taking action when needed, and finding practical solutions that will help move the community forward without division.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Gomez. Louis Washington here. I have the 3rd question. I'll read it. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? I'll give you some examples of these: transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open spaces, etc.
So I do have a strong interest in several key areas. First, smart and responsible growth, making sure that development is safe, well-planned, and aligned with our community's character. Second, transparency and communication. I've noticed that where I know many residents, at least in my neighborhood, there's not as much visible police presence as I'd like. So I'd advocate for increasing that so that residents feel a bit safer. And third, public safety and livability. I've noticed things like online permitting and resident portals could be a bit more modern and user-friendly. I'd like to see us add a simple how your tax dollars are spent portal or open books type of feature. So that residents can see where that money is going. And I believe other cities do that already successfully. Two more, another priority I'd like to bring forward is workforce development. I'd like to help bring apprenticeships to Snoqualmie. And I have been inspired by recent national efforts like the White House initiative supporting apprenticeships, because I believe those programs can help prepare our community for potential layoffs and give residents, especially the younger ones, the Gen Z, the folks that are facing different job changes. I believe those apprenticeships can give them real pathways to good careers here in town so that those folks can stay here, the folks that have been here a couple of years. And then finally, I do see a need for rental and housing assistance programs to keep Snoqualmie affordable for those same families that already live here.
Thank you.
Question number 4. Do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad than that?
Good question. So my interests are more broadly distributed. I do care about the overall health and direction of Snoqualmie. That said, I do have a strong focus on implementing that 2044 Snoqualmie comprehensive plan in a way that keeps residents informed and involved every step of the way. I'm passionate about building trust through better communication and collaboration. And even though the state law requires an appointment to fill this seat quickly, I believe we should still advocate for strong public representation on major issues. For example, on projects like the best proposal, I like to push for maximum transparency and real opportunities for residents to be heard so people feel that their voices are truly represented. And I would continue to support that level of openness in the city.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Believe it or not, we burned through those 4 questions. You are welcome to stay if you would like and watch the other candidates answer questions. You are also welcome to leave if you would like. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'd be honored to serve.
You do have the stamina to do it.
Are you're number one?
We have.
I'm number 1.
You're number one.
Don't
You're number.
forget that.
I cannot forget that.
Dan thought it was him, but
Huh.
So,
That sounds
okay, so I guess I'm.
question. Some of this. Go by. It's a spell. Boring thing to watch us sit. I'm talking about. This a 15-minute recess?
Walia.
Walia. Yeah, Dr. Walia.
I thought it was Walia.
Oh, what? Well, now we're gonna
Drop
have
it.
to ask her again.
But it's doctor. It is doctor.
Sorry, a little early.
Yep. Welcome, Ms. Walia. Take your time there, settle in.
Just need glasses and we're good. Put my readers on.
All right, well, thank you for being with us tonight and thank you for your application. We're going to go through tonight 4 questions with you. And you'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. There's a timer in front of you on the table, and just in case you're not keeping an eye on it, the lights will go on as the timer sort of gets lower to alert you to the fact that the time's running out. So as I mentioned, 4 questions, 3 minutes each. And with that, we will start with Councilmember Watton.
Thank you, Dr. Walia. Good evening. Thank you for applying. I get to ask the first question. It is this: why do you want to serve on the city council?
Thank you for the question. Can you guys hear me? Is that
Yep.
okay? Okay. Well, the simple answer is because I care. So I care deeply about Snoqualmie and the community that we share. I have lived here since 2015 and I'm raising my 3 sons here. We also moved my elderly parents here to Snoqualmie because of the quality of life and the strong sense of community that we have here. So I have a personal stake in the decisions the city makes. More importantly, I want to help ensure the same quality of life is available for all residents as we plan for growth. I am committed to my family's long-term future in this city, including the ability to age in place, because I would like to age in place here. I want to serve because Snoqualmie is at an important point where decisions made now will shape the community for decades. As a physician, I'm trained to listen, solve problems, advocate for people, and see how housing, public safety, community resources affect people's health and quality of life. I'm a very active participant in this community through volunteer work and serving on the Human Services Committee, and I believe my diverse and professional background will give a unique solution-oriented perspective to this council. For these reasons, it matters to me that we work together to preserve Snoqualmie's natural beauty and small-town character while planning sustainable growth. I'm ready to listen, do the work between meetings, and collaborate with the council, staff, and community to deliver results. I'm applying for this vacant seat because I am prepared to step in immediately, learn quickly, and contribute effectively.
Thank you.
Good evening. What experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
I bring a rare mix of leadership, policy fluency, fiscal soundness, and the unique ability to assess situations from a preventative lens. I bring 6 years of direct leadership experience as a medical director, overseeing a large budget, a multidisciplinary team, strategic planning, utilization management, and the ability to navigate complex organizational and operational challenges. With my position as medical director and my current role as the King County Medical Society delegate, I routinely review RCWs, WACs, resolutions, bills, and spend a lot of time developing policies and procedures. I also write resolutions, and I feel like these experiences translate well into council work. Serving on the Snoqualmie Human Services Advisory Committee, it has strengthened my ability to prioritize funding with limited resources. Obviously I have a science background, so I look at things with a data-driven and prevention type of lens, which I think is different. So I assess risk and focus on long-term outcomes. So I have a very objective versus subjective mindset. I'm a very active community member. with a track record of bringing people together and collaborating across, a diverse population here. I can work in a team setting. I volunteer my time because I think we should give back. And due to my involvement in my community, I really feel that I can be the voice and the bridge between the council and the community. Finally, I am a physician, parent, daughter to immigrant senior parents, and someone who has lived in this community for many years. I feel that I reflect the diversity, values, and experiences of the people that live here. So I will bring a different perspective that is rooted in service, empathy, and real-world problem solving.
Was that number 4?
No,
Thank you.
For 3.
Okay.
There's no number 3.
no,
Ready?
perfect.
Okay. Next question. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? I'll give you a few examples here. Transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, etc.
Yes, I think some of those regional issues, actually they correlate here as well. So not just regionally, but citywide. But I think one of them is really my passion is access to housing, affordable housing and senior housing. I've seen firsthand how difficult it is for seniors. If you look at just the city of Snoqualmie, everything's a duplex. You can't get physical therapy, occupational therapy, and caregivers out here to support seniors. You really can't age in place here. It's very difficult. So I think that I can bring a different perspective and look towards things such as working with the county on getting grants actually for that. And ensuring there's more resources, like community resources for unhoused, mentally ill, and those with substance abuse. So that's one thing as a regional issue. The other one is access to healthcare. It's very difficult for I don't think anybody really realizes how hard it is to navigate the healthcare system. So if you don't have transportation, you don't have access to transit, you really don't have the ability. And the healthcare system's really, really confusing. So, looking at more mobile units, access to transit, assistance with navigating the healthcare system with community resources. I can tell you our senior center struggles all the time. Granted, it's in North Bend. And more treatment and placement options for those who are mentally ill, because that's how you get to be unhoused. And so the other one is economic vitality. I think that you just can't thrive if your economics aren't good. So for me, it's looking at small businesses. If we look at Snoqualmie itself, really looking at increasing tourism. We have a lot of empty places, businesses. When you look at even just on the ridge, people don't, the Center Boulevard, people don't stay. It's blinking at me. And so focusing on finding unique ways for our small businesses to thrive.
All right. Walia, do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
So I've been interested in serving on the city council for several years and previously ran for office. So my desire to apply is not new, nor is it driven by a single issue. Rather, it reflects my continued commitment to give back to our city and my belief that my experience, perspective, and leadership would be a meaningful asset for the council. So we talked a little bit about, what I'm interested in, and just to go back is, I find it, I really am interested in increasing tourism here, and I think I have some pretty good ideas when 1/3 of your population is children. So this is where I feel like I could focus on and be different maybe from everybody. I would also look at looking at making permitting and licensing easier, and there's a lot of resources for small businesses we could look into. I'd like to work with the Chamber of Commerce as well to increase our ways to support our small businesses. There's also a lot of cultural activities that will draw in crowds, so I would like to focus on that as well. We talked about a little bit about housing and me wanting to be able to have people age in place. So that's another key thing. And I'd like to look at some zoning updates and mixed income housing use that are senior friendly. And redevelop underused properties if we can. And there's a lot of nonprofits there that I think we can utilize and help. I know that in some ways also the tribe was looking at doing something, so working with them as well. And then one of my core priorities is really sustainable growth because I think I can look at things from a different lens. So ensuring development, including large infrastructure projects. I mean, I have to mention BEST because it's what our city's really about right now. And that's something that they're really concerned about is looking at it and looking at it thoughtfully, evaluated to align with safety standards, environmental impact, and long-term community needs. I believe any infrastructure project should be assessed using data and best practices and a prevention-oriented framework that considers risk mitigation, emergency preparedness, and long-term impacts on residents. And we need to do this by measurable metrics and benchmarks to track outcomes over time. I think that's the big thing that I do is it's quality data. What do you have now and what do you have a year from now? And what interventions did we do in the middle and what does it look like? So we want to grow at a pace that our roads, utility, emergency services, and schools can support. So growth and infrastructure go hand in hand. So those are some of the reasons I want to, well, it's done. We're getting cut off.
Thank you.
If there was a thought you wanted to finish, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that. So it wasn't a single reason that I wanted to run, but several.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, Ms. Walia, thanks very much for spending time with us. Believe it or not, we zoomed through those 4 questions already. You are welcome to stay and watch other candidates if you like. You are welcome to leave if you like. Again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, if I could let you know, the last candidate on your list is unable to join us tonight. They were in Ireland and their flight got canceled. They got moved to a later flight. And so he's not able to be here at this time. Obviously, you'll be able to talk about that later when you're talking about where you go from here as to how you want to handle that. But he just wanted to express his regret, and he didn't say frustration, but I imagine he's frustrated. But certainly his regret and apologies for not being able to be here. Councilmember Cotton.
Might I suggest that we interview him at his pub when he gets back into the city?
Circle back to that.
Not here.
He has a great Sunday brunch.
All right, we are well ahead of schedule. So if there's no objection, I'll declare a 10-minute recess and we'll come back at 6:30 to see if a candidate has come in early yet. Our next candidate was not scheduled until 6:50.
Yeah.
All right, we're on recess till 6:30.
Oh, here's an 11th candidate.
All right, so we're maintaining order. Next one will be Margaret Adams.
Miss Adams, yes, sir. And Rob has designated me a number one.
I'm just number two.
Hello, Ms. Adams. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much.
We are going to go through 4 questions. They'll be asked by successive council members, and you'll have about 3 minutes. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each one.
Great.
There's a timer in front of you that will count down, but in case, so that you don't have to watch it constantly, it's got lights on top too that will change color. The yellow one goes on when you got about a minute left, and then the red will tell you when you're done. But if you get to that, you can finish out your thought.
Beautiful, great.
Okay, so thanks for being with us. And with that, Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Miss Adams.
Good evening.
Louis Washington, happy to see you today. I'm going to read the first question.
Great.
So the first question reads, why do you want to serve on the Snoqualmie City Council?
Great, that's a great question. I want to serve on the Snoqualmie City Council because I feel like it's a really great place to start giving back to my community. I've long wanted to be involved in representative politics and government, and this opening felt like a really interesting time to jump into the river, as it were, and go along with things. So I have had a long focus in my life in giving back to the community, be it through volunteer service, volunteering on trails, volunteering at schools. One of my many careers as a gig worker, I have a ton of careers that I'm always working in and out of, largely in the performing arts space and producing and writing. One of my favorite joys I get that fills a lot of my year is going to schools and being a person trained in trauma-informed artistic escapades. So, improv classes, getting kids to come out of their shells. And a lot of what I work on in that space as well is encouraging kids to be involved in their communities and to also speak up for those, either themselves or folks around them, that need a little help with their representation. So that has long been, I've always been a champion of the underdog. I like to use what I've constantly been told is quite a loud voice for folks who have a little bit trouble raising theirs. I think we're at a really interesting point in time with the city of Snoqualmie and its outlying areas where we're really on the verge of what is the next 20 years of life in Snoqualmie and Snoqualmie Valley going to look like. And the idea of being involved in helping find that direction, helping to grow the community and also treasure those things within our community that make living in Snoqualmie so great. And that really is a lot of what I'm interested in right now is how can I help? And seeing this as a great opportunity to be able to jump in and serve my community.
Thank you.
Number 2, what experience, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Great. I have an immense tool chest as a facilitator. I kind of liken that to being a middle child. I was always I was always the mediator, trying to keep the youngest and the oldest from burning down everything in our little existence. So over the years, first I was trained at Microsoft. I was always kind of stretching beyond my role as an executive assistant there. And I teamed up with one of the leaders in facilitation, Dr. Anna Raleigh, who was kind of a perennial contractor at Microsoft back in the aughts. She taught me everything she knew. And I really learned to love that art of driving a communication or driving a conversation, right? Being able to get a group to come together and coalesce around a big problem, putting my beliefs and everything to aside for a second and trying to see where the consensus lies. you know. I very much love seeking consensus building in everything I do. I think there's always a ton of angles that we can look at every single issue. And it's nice to be able to meet in a way where everyone can raise those concerns and come together to find something that we're all bought into. I would consider that a really solid skill that I have that I would bring into serving on this council. Another skill of mine is, I love being in front of people. I love, delivering messages, being somewhat of a spokesperson, somebody who's out there and really getting to into the discourse with the community of what's going on here, and I see kind of a perennial thing with many councils is whoa, they're in this chamber and what do they do? And, you can kind of hear some buzz in the areas and it's like, it would be just so lovely to have a more communicative, transparent, community-involved council. And I do also track that to the work that I've done as a member of 2 unions in the entertainment industry. A lot of the time when people complain about what's going on, the union isn't doing anything for me, it's like, well, where are you showing up for the union, and that has had the mentality I carry into city and other representative chambers is we are as good as we are when we are. So let's be, right? We need to be involved in that or else it's our fault too. We have no one to blame for a lack of participation in democracy than ourselves.
All right, Ms. Adams, Rob Watton, thank you so much, first of all, for applying and stepping up and spending your time this evening with us. Here's the third question. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? And let me give you a few examples. Transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, or something else of your own desire.
Great. I definitely, top of mind for me is water quality. My earliest issues as an activist would be when I was a toddler with Surfrider Foundations down in California, protecting our beaches and the water quality therein. We have a very precious and sacred water supply in Snoqualmie. And I firmly believe, and I raise my kids to think of how sacred this is, right? That we protect it, we take care of it, and that we make sure that we are supportive of things that will be conserving it and using it wisely, and that also we are cautious of things that may lead to the pollution of or the depletion of our water supply, and that water is life. And I'm very, very dedicated in that realm. So it's very interesting to me. Parks and open spaces. I am an avid camper and hiker, and I love all of that. I love the outdoors. The biggest reason that my family came to the Snoqualmie Valley area in the first place back in 2009 in Duval was to be closer to the wildness and the gorgeousness that we have out here. And that is what ultimately drew us up here to Snoqualmie. But not on the list and really dear to my heart is the arts. I see rural locations like Carnation and North Bend all like kind of moving towards having more art in our lives, especially when the weather is great and it's, picture perfect and beautiful. So I can just as a citizen spinning on my own, I've conceptualized so many things that could be great to attract area bands, area being the state, to come and play outdoor concerts, outdoor Shakespeare in the park, would be a lovely thing to see happen in Snoqualmie. We have the resources for it. I've toured on one of those with Seattle Shakespeare myself. You just need a park. Everyone will show up with chairs and picnics and everything, right? And it's a lovely experience. And so that is something that's a huge, huge, huge focus for me as well, because I believe we live in such a unique place that we can really work on that. And as far as creating good union jobs for workers in the area, attracting more film work to our area, like Train Dreams. I had a bunch of colleagues who were on the hair makeup team for Train Dreams, and it was awesome to see it get nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, I was a little sad that it lost, but you can't win them all. It was great to see our little town featured, prominently in an Oscar contender movie, and I want to see more of that. As an IATSE stagehand, that's good jobs that helps get food on the table for hard workers across the region.
Thank you.
Ms. Adams, my question is, do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are you interested, or your interests more broad?
My interests are more broad than that. I want to be able to present, I want to be able to represent for the folks in my community. I would think the one issue that seems to be very hot right now and that I am actually very located next to is the best proposal with the battery energy storage up in the unincorporated strip of King County next to Snoqualmie Ridge. That is definitely something I've engaged in a lot of conversations over the past weeks with my neighbors who are very directly involved with some of the pushback or at least the desire to get a lot of information and figure out how we as citizens can be part of that ultimate decision. I understand there's a lot of authority that, a lot is out of hands and a lot is at the county level. But that is definitely something that I think has been raised to my attention from the folks immediately around me as being the most pressing issue that we have to talk about as a community and decide what direction we're going to move forward with. Other than that, I look at our, over the past decades, especially as a person who's been involved in activism for pretty much my entire life, I look around and I see an America that's a bit hard to recognize in terms of Americans used to be known to be we're going to roll up our sleeves, we're going to do it, we're going to get it done. And I see a lot of my peers now, educated, uneducated, whatever spectrum of age group, us Gen Xers and elder millennials, kind of waiting around for someone else to do something for us all the time. And it's a common refrain. And I finally got to the point where I said, I'm going to stop waiting for someone else to be involved in the community and be involved in how things grow and how we live and what we continue to cultivate as our culture here in Snoqualmie. And with two kids growing up here, it's really important to me to see them have a model in their mother of someone who doesn't just wait for democracy to happen, but somebody who wants to actively and willingly participate in the process in order for us to have a better society and a better world.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your
course.
time. Believe it or not, we zoomed through those 4 questions. Thank you very much. You are welcome to stay and watch other candidates. You are welcome to leave.
Great.
And thank you again for your time.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
So you're up, Joe, for number 1. Yep. No.
All right. Let's take a 15-minute recess until 7 o'clock. All right, Mr. Donaldson, welcome. So in something that doesn't happen too often in my experience, we are in government. We're ahead of schedule. So
good.
thanks for being here. Thanks for being ready to go. What we're going to do tonight is go through 4 questions with you. Council members will take turns asking you those questions. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. There's a timer there on the table in front of you that'll count down, and you don't have to watch it constantly. It's got some lights that'll blink up. The yellow light will go on when you got a minute left.
All righty.
So thank you very much for being here. And with that, we will start with Councilmember Johnson.
All right. Welcome. Thank you. Question number 1, why do you want to serve on the city council?
Sure. I'll start by saying thank you, council members, for your time. It is an honor to be considered for this position. As some of you know, this is not my first time getting involved in our local government. I did run for this seat in 2019, and I participated in the general election then. And while I did not prevail, I did receive strong support from this community. And I learned a lot about our political process. And I also received a lot of valuable feedback from our constituents at that time. So my interest in local government is longstanding. I ultimately am motivated by a drive to serve my community. Since that time, I have been married, I fathered a child, and I started an electrical contracting business in addition to providing the rental housing. So I feel like I'm experienced participating in our community. I've been involved in the political process for some time now, and I find myself at a juncture in my life where I'm feeling ready, prepared, and able to serve at this time. Certainly there will be a learning curve, but my ambition is to be the best representative for this community that I can be. I'm sure we'll go into my credentials a little bit in the near future, but that's a pretty straightforward answer. I don't have a lot more to say about my reasons for applying for the seat.
All right. Well, Mr. Donaldson, the second question is, what experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Sure. So I've lived in Snoqualmie now for a little over 10 years. And for the overwhelming majority of that time, I have been providing low cost, high quality housing for our residents. I'm a property owner, property manager, landlord. I own a multifamily property. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. So this has made me particularly aware of residential lease agreements and compliance with landlord-tenant laws as are mandated by our state legislature. In addition to that, as an electrical contractor, I work in our very neighborhoods, hands-on, providing essential utility services. And through that small business, which I'm a sole proprietor of, I've gained a lot of professional experience with permitting, inspections, code compliance, compliance with local regulations and how those regulations affect businesses and the development process. And so this, I would say, somewhat unique background has given me a lot of insights into what it costs to live here. I'm very much aware of our need for affordable housing. And I also have direct experience in providing perhaps the city's most essential responsibility, that is the provision of utilities, essential utilities to our neighborhoods. So while I don't have a common, political background that you might find in some of the other applicants, my background is largely self-taught and entrepreneurial in nature as a small business owner. I think in conjunction with the existing expertise and skill sets we have on the council, that my background is rather complementary. And that's part of the reason I decided to apply today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Washington.
Good evening, Mr. Donaldson. Great to have you here this evening. So I have the third question and I'll read it here. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? I'll give you some examples. Transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, etc.
Sure. Well, I'll start by saying that I've lived my entire life in King County, so I'm very much a local here. Part of the reason that part of what drew me to the city of Snoqualmie was the easy access to our world-class parks and the opportunities for recreation. Actually, earlier today, I was paddling in my raft on Rattlesnake Lake in preparation for this interview. So I am a nature lover. So parks are right up my alley. The protection and maintenance of our local environment is very important to me. As far as regional issues, I think I could help with or focus on. In 2019, one of the foremost issues was the community pool and the options that we had at that time. This is something that's a little more closer to home for me. I struggled with learning to swim as a child. And we also live in a community where there's a lot of recreation in our local waterways. And so I think more than other communities, it's essential that we do have a pool that provides affordable swim lessons at scale. And I mean, I'm rather untested, as you know, but I do think I have diplomatic abilities, and I would like to work with our neighboring cities, with the county, and perhaps even the state legislature to help secure a grant, if possible, for a project along those lines, perhaps jointly with some neighboring cities. And then, of course, given my background in electrical systems, I am very much interested in our energy infrastructure, our grid. As you well know, there are increasing demands on our energy systems here and throughout the country, frankly. And we're now at a point in our history where we have to think about how can we improve grid stability. This is largely a regional issue, but it's something that every city participates in. And I think having somebody with my background on the council would be relevant in that regard. But of course, I care about all of the city services that we provide. As you all know, we are a full service city, and for one of our size, that's pretty unusual. And I think we've managed to do that. A lot of credit due to the administration and our staff that we're able to provide all those services. It's a very challenging thing. I also went through the Citizens Academy, and I've seen what that entails. And so, yeah, I'd very much like to contribute to our continued ability to provide those high quality services.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
All right, question number 4. Do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
Sure. So I have had an interest in governance since I'll say since I was a teenager. It's something I've been studying for a long time, and that's obviously part of the reason why I ran before. So my interests are broad. I am not what you would consider a single issue candidate. Now, I have expressed opinions to the community and published those opinions online, and I've been heard. And so some may think that I'm narrow-minded about what it is I'd like to contribute to on the council, but really my objective is to learn how to govern, learn how to collaborate with those among you that are, already established elected officials and have a proven track record. And I would very much like to learn from your experience and contribute in my own ways. And so to answer your question directly, no, there isn't one issue in particular. There are, of course, issues that I feel more drawn to, given my background and my history of participating in the political process, and some of which I've mentioned here today. But nothing really in particular brought me here today. I had been getting involved in the best siting issue as those plans became public in recent times. I did speak about that, but that was actually before this position opened up. So that is not the reason I'm here today, although it is something I'm very passionate about.
All right. Well, we actually burned through those questions pretty quickly. Thank you very much for your answers and for your time. You are welcome to stay and watch other candidates answer questions. You are welcome to leave as well, whichever you would like. But thank you very much, Mr. Donaldson, for your time tonight.
Sure, I'll stick around. Thank you.
You're up. Councilmember Watson, are you number
Need
one?
a candidate, Bill.
That would help, but you're question number one.
So picky. Really want to.
And
Council member number 6.
I think you should ask the question. Let's see what happens.
We have a future council member back there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
The oil.
Why do I have that song of "Don't let your children grow up to be cowboys," but now it's council members in my head now. Julie Nelson.
So, Willie Nelson.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson. Welcome. Now, just to avoid any confusion tonight, you will be Mr. Johnson. There's another fellow here we'll call Council Member Johnson. So you just listen for the precursor, though you know which one I'm referring to. But anyway, welcome tonight. Thank you for being here with us. We're going to go through 4 questions. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. They'll be asked by a series of council members, so it'll be a different one asking you each question. And with that, we will start with Councilmember Watton.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Johnson.
Good evening.
Okay, well, I guess first of all, it's not on my script, but if you are appointed, we have to have you change your name.
I've been rocking my head and I just, I think that we can figure something out.
Figure it out.
Thank you for pointing that out,
Carlton
Mayor.
and Johnson, right?
Yeah.
You go.
Well, now it's gonna get
All
really
right.
confusing.
And now for the reason why you're here, thank you for applying for this position too, by the way. So Dr. Johnson, first question, real question. Why do you want to serve on the city council?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and esteemed council members for having me here today. There's so many different reasons. I live walking distance from here. I walk here, charge my car here all the time. And as many of you know, I had an opportunity to also run for mayor of this wonderful town, which was a learning experience all in its own. I've been in Snoqualmie for going on 6 years, and while I've been able to learn about some of the challenges and some of the wonderful things that have been, happening here historically and now, hitting the doors really taught me a lot about what is going on in the different communities, some of the different challenges, and of course, working in local government, I understand the frustrations of trying to provide services to a community, but the complexity of not really being able to express and talk about, how challenging that work is internally, but also having that translate to solutions and issues. So as I hit the doors, I heard many stories, learned a lot about
things around public safety, a lot of things that I have a lot of experience in doing. And of course, I love and appreciate the spirit, energy of this town. So I just want to do my duty as a public servant and be able to contribute. I've been in public service since I was 14. My first job was at the Seattle Center House, and I was working as one of the groundskeepers, and we cleaned toilets. And so we cleaned toilets, we pulled Himalayan blackberry bushes, and that taught me a lot about community, a lot about how to take care of the places you live. And so I want to bring that same energy here to where I live, right? It's not fair to do all of that in Seattle and Bellevue and not bring that home to where I stay. So I want to contribute to the community.
Thank you, sir.
I'll take the next question. Dr. Johnson, what experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you'd like to highlight?
Well, this handsome smile, I mean, it can win over. You know, I think that, you know, there's a lot of different things, but for me, community has always been central. As a kid, my dad would always find opportunities to have neighbors over. He would barbecue, throw on some Motown music. And, you know, he also made sure that we stayed in tune to what was going on in the local government, right? We, at that time, had our first Black mayor, Norm Rice, in Seattle. That's where I grew up. Larry Gossett, right? We had the King County Executive. And my dad would actually take us to council meetings, which we thought were absolutely boring. That hasn't changed very much. But, you know, he really, you know, helped us understand how important it is to really be involved in local government. But central to that was a sense of community, sharing information. Back in my days, we used to borrow sugar from our neighbors. And I remember the times when you would knock on the door and, you know, people were excited and they were like, oh, well, who's at the door? Who is that? You know, is it the neighbors? And now it's like, who's at the door? Like, you know, and people get a little uptight, the anxiety kicks in. And I think, you know, really from a lot of the recent things that have been happening, we've been seeing a show of community. We've been seeing a show of that strength. And I know how to mobilize and bring that community together, have those difficult conversations, think about those different challenges and solutions, but also understand right from developing policy, you know, working with many different commissions and boards, doing community dialogues, how to address very challenging issues, right? And so, you know, those are a few of the things that, you know, I bring to the table. But for me, the sense of community, sense of safety, sense of, right, getting back to that sense of being able to, when you hear the doorbell ring, be excited and not a little bit afraid. So thank you.
Councilmember Johnson.
There we go. All right, question number 3. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have a particular interest or expertise? In particular, things like transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open spaces, etc.
Yes, thank you. Actually, I feel very blessed to have intersections with all of those. At the City of Bellevue, my role as a DEI outreach and engagement administrator and advisor was both external and internal. So working with all of the different departments, all the different divisions. I was a main liaison for utilities, for transportation. I worked very closely with Bellevue PD, fire. I was part of the core team that helped us update our 15-year strategic management mitigation plan. You know, I've worked with just so many different areas from human resources, developing citywide trainings and curriculum. And so I've been blessed to work with parks, whether it was on events or, you know, community centers and things like that. So, you know, both internally at Bellevue, and then I work also with a lot of different community-based organizations that provide a lot of crucial services, immigrant communities, and so forth. And I also serve on several different boards that, you know, one of the passions of my life is mentorship. So I've been involved in that for a very long time. And then I have relationships with, I've been working with King County, different municipalities across the state of Washington and actually across the United States, mainly on things related to hate crimes and domestic violence. So, Stronger Cities is one of the organizations that I've worked with in depth, Washington State, many different organizations. And so, been blessed to not only have that, but as well as my role at the University of Washington. So I had touch points with all those different areas.
All right, I have the last question for you, Dr. Johnson. Do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
Yeah, I think, one of the key things for me, being one of the two candidates with myself and the King County Executive to be officially endorsed by the Snoqualmie tribe, very meaningful to me. And I think a lot of the collaboration and work we have done at the city of Bellevue is great. And that's something I want to continue doing, whether it's around education, around bringing awareness to things like the opioid crises, environmental things, sustainability. So that work with the Snoqualmie tribe is definitely something I would like to continue. And that leads into a lot of the work that I've done in the past with community-based organizing, working with community members and boards and commissions on various issues from public safety, transportation, so forth. So I would say that's central. Of course, public safety is always a concern and something that I've done, in many different capacities, particularly with Bellevue PD, fire, utilities, and many other departments. So that is a central issue of mine. And then, right, coalition building. How do we come together to share resources? How do we come together to create capacity at a time when a lot of people are out of work? And so that feeds into economic development, vitalizing the local businesses and supporting that. And I think, I don't see all of these as separate things. I see them all as intersections that come together. And so for me, it's about how do we do that in addition to build and work with, right, the county, work with neighboring cities, right, to keep these conversations going around the most pressing issues that are concerning to the majority, and then those particular things to Snoqualmie.
Thanks, Dr. Johnson.
All right, Dr. Johnson, thank you very much. That's our 4 questions. Thank you for your time. You're welcome to stay and listen to other candidates. You are welcome to leave as well. And just thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council, for your time. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Here. Find out.
Recess?
Skip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dee, you get the award for being with us the longest tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, when did they say your car would be ready?
Tomorrow. Uh-oh. It's much more fun in person.
Popcorn though.
You have a policy on
No
popcorn?
frills.
Huh?
We have a policy on popcorn in here?
No, but I'm eyeballing the Girl Scout cookies.
I know.
No, I'm trying to cut back.
Well, hello.
Good evening, Ms. Price. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And thank you for coming a bit early. One of these rare occurrence in my experience in government is we're ahead of schedule.
I won't count on it being a regular thing.
So we have we have 4 questions for you tonight.
Okay.
They'll be asked by different council members, and then you will have 3 minutes to answer each question. There's a timer there in front of you, but you don't have to keep your eye on it. It's got some lights. The yellow light will go when you got about a minute left. So it'll kind of draw your attention so you can watch then.
Okay.
All right. So, and with that, we will start with our first question from Councilmember Washington.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening, Ms. Price. I'll start with the first question. And it reads, why do you want to serve on Snoqualmie City Council?
I have thought a lot about this with the unexpected availability of an opportunity. So, and I think it boils down to a few very simple things. I love Snoqualmie Valley. I love our people. I love the place where we live. I love our history. And I believe that we have a pretty amazing future ahead of us in the aspirational possibilities of where we live. And I think there are a few uniquely challenging things we're going to be facing in the near future. Well, we're facing them. We're not going to be facing them. We're facing them. And that is, housing constraints. And being able to come up with creative solutions to some very real needs within our community that affect our economic development as well as our community culture. And I also believe that core to the well-being of the Valley is economic development. Again, a diverse, multifaceted way of addressing those that challenge, which again is constrained by geography and by a desire to remain, a very good desire to remain true to the culture that we already have here. And so I look forward to working on those things to work for, that is for the good of our community. We can't really thrive without a strong economy that's resilient. We can't really thrive without housing that meets needs of diverse populations. My particular thing that I think is core to everything that a government, well, any organization does is partnerships and relationships. I think you just, for me, it's very simple. I'm old school. You just pick up the phone. You write an email. You have a question. You need expertise. You want to work on an issue, and you know there's already someone doing it. It's really easy to develop silos and costly redundancies, and building relationships and partnerships really prevent that and make it possible for you to support work that's already happening and to find support for work that you're doing that can add to the region.
Thank you very much, Ms. Price.
All right, I get number 2. What experiences, talents, or skills do you bring to the council and community that you would like to highlight?
Am I the only person who hates that question?
Oh, you're probably one of 9 so far.
Right, I hate that question. Well, I think in a very functional way, I bring governance experience. A lot of times school board work is seen as kind of volunteer part, little stuff that somehow is different, but I understand the liability. I understand the legal responsibility. I understand the processes that are in place, working on budgets, working on overseeing the work that staff is doing and relying on them to help you form good policy and form good plans. And so I really am familiar with governance work, although not at the complexity level, still a substantial budget and a substantial range of needs and stakeholders. So that's one thing that I bring is that experience. I also have experience within our community in the sustainable, I'm watching that timer. In the sustainable tourism project that happened, I had the good fortune of being able to end up in sort of a leadership role in that and learned an incredible amount about our community, our municipalities, our businesses, and their concerns, their challenges, and gosh, just the passion and talent they bring to our community and how fortunate we are to have them here, and how much support they need. So, so I have the Parks and Events Commission experience and the City Academy, both where I got to know a lot of the people who are here in this building, in this work. Well, not just this building, the Public Works one too. And just love to see their passion and what they do and the skill with which they do it. And to understand how the systems here work. I tend to be a systems person. I see how details impact the functionality, but ultimately it's how well a system is designed that impacts its success. So I have loved seeing how these pieces fit together and accomplish the things that the city needs to accomplish. Gosh, I also have served on boards and at the state level doing education advocacy, working to get law passed. In fact, today I got an email that the WAC that we rewrote together with the OSPI
Go ahead and finish.
was signed by the final signature today and should be posted in the next few days on OSPI. So I'm very excited about that. Anyway, experience.
Excellent. Ms. Price,
Hi.
thank you first of all for applying. And
you.
My question is this. Are there any regional issues or forums in which you have particular interest or expertise? And I'll give you a few examples.
Okay.
Transportation, water supply, human services, water quality, fiscal management, solid waste, parks and open space, or anything else of interest to you?
Anything else? I do. I see them all as interconnected, so I don't downplay the importance of any individual piece that could be a part of this answer. They're all very important, and I do have a habit of geeking out on things that other people wouldn't normally geek out on. So I just have yet to find what all those will be. But I also do really, really really care about the economic development in our community. I've watched great effort, great planning, great work happening across the whole valley along these lines. And I believe that I can contribute meaningfully to that. I also care very much about the social services within our community and making sure that we know that those are being covered. And of course, that extends across the valley as well. Transportation is incredibly impactful for our community. We have people, as we do in so many sectors, very dedicated, very organized, very skilled, underfunded and we have need for more ability to more mobility around our community. So
Thank you.
All right, and I have the last question. Ms. Price, do you want to serve on the city council because of a particular local issue on which you want to work, or are your interests more broad?
okay, but I just answered that one. No, I don't. I really value public service and consider it very much a public trust. The work that a governing body does at whatever level they do it impacts very real people's lives, and not just in the moment, but over a long period of time. Being thoughtful, being curious, seeking out diversity of voices. You just never know when you're going to make a connection that makes a difference. Because of the tourism work, sustainable tourism work, I ended up in a group where, in a transportation coalition. So I'm in the transportation coalition meeting and they start talking about identifying gaps in our community. Well, it turns out that we have internships happening at the high school, and one of the biggest barriers for setting them up is transportation. And so being able to make those connections, I didn't rebuild anything or create a program, but I was able to bring that to the attention of people on both sides who could come together and remove that barrier. And the number of places where opportunities like that present themselves, if you're listening and if you're present, just being present is very important. And so I want to serve because I care about the role.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We went through all four questions. Thank you for your time. And we will let you know.
Okay.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, council, the next item on the, sorry, for those that are not aware, the final candidate was bumped off their plane and was not able to physically be here. So that interview will not be happening. Council, it is now, next item on the agenda is an executive session under RCW 42.30.1101H to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate for appointment to elective office. However, any interview of such candidate and final action appointing a candidate to elective office shall be in a meeting open to the public. So with that, we'll be in executive session for the next 20 minutes until 8 o'clock. And if we extend, we'll notify you. All right, it's 8 o'clock and we are back in session, returning from executive session. Next item on the agenda is potential action, appointment of a candidate to elective office. Is there a motion regarding appointment of a candidate to elective office? Councilmember Johnson.
Move to not make an appointment tonight.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Murphy. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion passes. There will be no appointment of a candidate this evening. Moving on to the next item, which is determining next steps in the council vacancy selection process. Is there a motion regarding the next step in the council vacancy process? Councilmember Johnson.
Move to hold a special session on Monday, May 11th at 5 o'clock for the purpose of holding the interview for candidate Adrian Webb, followed by executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Sorry, motion by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Washington. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Holloway.
Didn't we cut the roundtable down to 30 minutes?
Your roundtable is scheduled for an hour starting at 6
Scheduled for
p.m.
Okay, cool. I just didn't want to hold in my day-long meeting schedule.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries, and the next step will be a special meeting of the council on Monday at 5 PM, including an interview. Did I say it wrong? Monday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
There was a puzzled look. Okay.
Attention.
Monday at 5 o'clock, special session, and hold on just a minute.
No, it wasn't. It was 5.
It was 5?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I wrote it down
Yep.
wrong.
Um,
Sorry, apologize for that.
Sorry, so the motion to have a special session Monday at 5 PM for interview of candidate Webb, and then executive session under our CW 42.30.1101H will be, we'll call that special session. That brings us to the end of the agenda. Council Member Johnson.
So this is about, so we could potentially have a second action under the same topic of determining next steps in council vacancy selection process. Is that true?
You could. Would you like to add that to that special session?
No, I would like to make another motion under that same topic for tonight.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. Move to add possible action following the executive session.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, motion by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Washington to add to the Monday 5 PM special meeting, add to the agenda an item of potential action determining next steps in the council vacancy selection process. Did I capture that correctly?
If I may revise, I think that it's possible, potentially, that we might want to actually have both of the two items that are here for that special session. I don't know if we're going to want to make the appointment. It could be that we come out and we decide that we do want to make an appointment.
Are you moving to amend your motion?
Therefore, I think that I'd like to amend my motion then to make it actually two potential actions, and they'd be the same two that are listed on tonight's agenda.
Is there a second to the motion to amend the motion?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Holloway. Any discussion? All right, so this is a motion to revise the motion to add to the Monday evening special meeting being called at 5 PM, in addition to the interview and the executive session, to add potential action on appointment of a candidate to elective office and potential action determining next steps in the council vacancy selection process. Those in favor of that amendment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion is now amended. Those in favor of the amended motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Any further discussion? If not, we've reached the end of the agenda, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Murphy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries, and we are adjourned.
Johnson.